So I played violin for a couple of years. I was pretty bad, I think, as everybody is when they first start playing anything. When they first start doing anything, you're not great at the beginning. And we moved. My dad got a new job outside of Atlanta, so we moved from Denver to Atlanta. And I went to my first day of 6th grade with my violin, and they told me they didn't have orchestra. So I joined band. I thought, I really want to play pretty music. I'm tired of playing screechy, gross music on the violin. I want to play something pretty. So I picked the French horn, and then the band director came back out after everybody had picked their instruments, and he said, we're going to be a really good band, but we don't have somebody to play every instrument. And we can only be a really good band if we have every instrument. And I see straight through this now, but I did not when I was in 6th grade, that we really need someone to play the bassoon. And I went up and played on it, and I remember it like sort of, I don't know, it's really terrible. I should probably make you the sound that I made when I first did it. It sounds like a dying cow. Like it's a pretty awful beginning sound, but it kind of like makes your face vibrate, and it was pretty loud, and I don't know what drew me to it, because it definitely wasn't pretty, which is why I thought I wanted to play the French horn. And I was like, this is kind of fun. It's got a lot of buttons, and I had to spread my hands out really far, and like it seemed kind of quirky, and they really needed someone to play it anyway, and I wasn't going to be good at whatever I picked up, so I might as well pick up this thing. And I'm sure my mother must have just like, bless her, she must have had a heart attack at that point, because it was like big, and I did not sound very pretty, and they'd already spent 2 years listening to me to be terrible at the violin. Now I was going to, just transfer it over to something else. But it stuck. I was the only one in my program in middle school for a few years. I was one of 2 for a couple of years in high school, and then the only one for a couple of years. And that's a lot of what kind of drove me. That's what a lot of Iowa students, a lot of students nationwide, but especially a lot of students in Iowa, that's their experience also, is that they're the one person that just sort of like honked around. And they don't really know what they're supposed to sound like, and they didn't have anybody else that's learning with them, and it's a really isolating experience. But to see their instrument being used in a capacity that's really virtuosic, and that's really, it's often beautiful and sustained. And I remember only seeing, when I was a student, only being able to see that live a couple times. I started out in college actually not as a music major. I was a pre-law international affairs major. I really wanted to work at an embassy, like I wanted to do international law, and I just liked music. It was kind of hard to get space in the hall as a non-major freshman, but if I said I was a performance major, then I got to register like 2 weeks earlier, and so I added the major, and they needed someone to teach at the community music school, and I really liked it. I dropped the law component of it and added the music education degree. And so I graduated with a music education degree. I actually was a middle school band director after undergrad. So I taught middle school band and conducted on the faculty of a youth orchestra outside of Atlanta. And at that point I just missed playing. So I went back and got a focused master's in performance and focused really on pedagogy, on teaching my instrument specifically. There's something really special about teaching, I don't know, there are many components of it, but teaching something that is still a new discipline to someone who's not new to the world. And there's also a layer of, when you're at this early adulthood stage of life, you're still figuring yourself out, but it's like the first time you've really been aware of it. And so folding in, a technical discipline where the ultimate goal is to be expressive or to be communicative, and helping someone figure out how to do that while they're still trying to figure out who they are as a person. It's a really fascinating group to work with, and I think it's really fulfilling in that way to see adults becoming more who they're going to be.